Everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, intuitive astrologer, Reiki master, and empowerment coach. Today is March 31st, 2022, and we will be having a new moon in Aries at, I believe, 11:24 p.m. Pacific time today. And I was thinking about this new moon, and I wanted to talk about the moon in general to you. I wanted to explain to you why I believe the moon is one of the most important, if not the most important, planet and dynamic in our natal chart. Every month, the moon zips around the zodiac, hitting every single one of our natal planets and triggering all the aspects that are there. I believe that the rising sign is also like the moon and the rising sign to me on some level are on a par, but the moon will always trump the rising sign. The rising or the ascendant is our perception, how we initially view situations, dynamic, people, etc. But the moon being our emotional body, it represents so many things. I mean, I can't help but think about the commercials on television and the depression commercials and the drugs. If you're not feeling up to snuff, if you're not feeling confident and capable, how do you manifest your dreams? So this is why I think this planet is so important. And every month it gives us an opportunity to revisit our truth. So there's a couple of things about the moon I want to talk about in general. From a scientific point of view, the moon has an energetic field that actually protects the Earth from asteroids and meteorites and all sorts of space debris from entering our atmosphere and doing bodily harm and damage to the planet and to humans. So this is very interesting because this is initially the moon's ability to nurture ourselves and others. So the sign of your moon is going to give you dynamics on how do you nurture yourself and others. Now, again, there are what they call aspects, squares, trines, oppositions, which can encourage or support our emotional body or challenge it in some ways. But these to me are in place because they are the soul's. It's the soul's willingness to go through these challenges that illuminates the truth of who we are. So I don't want to fight those things. I also want to say that the moon, from the Earth's point of view, humans only see one side of the moon, the man in the moon. We don't see the other side of the moon, which is so apropos because we show a certain amount of our emotions to the outside world, and then we keep our most intimate vulnerabilities to ourselves. So the moon is so powerful. Oftentimes people talk, oh, I'm a Libra sun or I'm an Aries sun. This is the dynamic we project out to other people. It doesn't represent our emotional body. So this is why I was inspired to do this video. Aries is the first sign in the zodiac. It represents the self. Here we have a new moon where the sun and the moon come together for creation. They do it in the dark of night as we plant our seeds. And then as the moon goes through its phase and we nurture that seed, we give it an ability to grow. So these were all my inspirations for why I wanted to do this video. So let's start with Aries and what it's like to be an Aries moon. This is a passionate sign, Aries. It's very quick. It is a little focused on itself. It is going to, nothing can happen quick enough for Aries. Aries is ruled by Mars. So you're going to see a bit of fire, both for that passionate side and a bit on the temperamental side. I can't help but hear that George Michael song, everything she wants is everything she needs. That feels very Aries to me. The minute they see something, they put their eye on it, they get an instant passion for it, and it becomes something that they need. And it's not always true because sometimes they can burn out on that need, just the way, sort of a flame. So that's a little bit of a challenge. Aries is very charming as well. It's very witty. They have a hard time waiting for things, Aries. They have very little patience. All of this wanting things now and having a moon as an Aries would be part of the challenge, would be learning how to trust the journey, and that there are things sometimes that Aries can't see immediately that are benefits or rewards down the line. I also want to say that they would rather confront than retreat. And sometimes this can be a little bit challenging for others. Aries is called the truth seeker in some ways, and it's why it's willing to go to war for the truth. And so when it starts to hear something that it doesn't think is the truth, it will tend to react very quickly and sort of shoot back at you. But then they'll win you over with their childlike enthusiasm and this aura of we can do it, we can do it. So Aries moon is really a very, it's a growing moon as well. We refer to the Aries moon itself as a growing moon. It marks the beginning of spring. And with that springtime, that seed has to push its way up through the soil. So there is a bit of a tenacity attached to Aries, and it's fun. So let's go on to our Taurus moon. Taurus, the second house, naturally rules history and family history. So you'll see Taurus really liking the familiar, being deeply rooted in their family, wanting to feel solid and comfortable and safe within their environment. Taurus is a fixed sign, so it doesn't shift easily, which can make Taurus slightly stubborn. The moon is exalted in Taurus, which means that the moon is in its highest dignity. It is a welcome guest in the home of Taurus. And so being there, Taurus is going to really attach a lot of their self-worth to their memories, good and bad, or for their highest good or not. Taurus is not pushing a Taurus moon to do something they don't want to do is like raising or waving a red flag at a bull. You're going to see their snout start to huff and puff, and they're going to start to push their hooves into the ground, and you may get poked by those horns. So pushing is not, they like inspired action, sort of appeasing to the Venusian dynamic of Taurus. Taurus also rules the voice. So I would say that on a moon level, Taurus is going to enjoy music and comfortable pillows and a comfortable home and a place where things are simple but feel luxurious to them. The other thing is that Taurus does not like a lot of drama. It may tend, when Taurus gets stubborn, it doesn't see itself as being dramatic, but it can be a little bit. I know I'm a Taurus moon, but overall, it does not like unpredictable situations and drama. It likes to keep kind of at a minimum. It's a generally romantic sign. They're sentimental and warm, again, ruled by Venus. And once they decide that they are on your team, they're completely loyal. They're very, very, again, this is the sort of that history dynamic. When you have history with them, when you've spent time with them, when you've been in the trenches with them, they consider you family, and they will hold you tight in that respect. They don't like a lot of change. They are not the most adaptable this way. So any sudden moves are going to make them very uncomfortable. Any sudden outbursts are going to make them very uncomfortable. Their needs are strong, but their overall dynamic is simple. Treat me well, make me feel at home, feed me good food, and I will feel loved. Taurus will be one of those that will keep the recipes of the family and pass them down on from generation to generation proudly. It's really a wonderful moon. Okay, so let's go on to our Gemini moons. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is the other than the moon, I think the Mercury moves the fastest, or the sun obviously goes around once a month as well, but Mercury just zips around, passing information around, running around in our highways, talking to our teammates, our sorority sisters, our fraternity brothers, our neighbors. So it's a very charming sign, very pleasant. And really, you know, I want to say this, their persona in public is very much the charming sort of let me throw the party kind of thing. So the most time the outside world will not see their irritability, it will not see their fickleness. That will be saved for their family members. They are curious. They want to be a part of everything. They want to be well informed. So if they're part of their communities, if they are active in their communities, they're going to take a lot of pride in being part of a situation, part of a team, being needed and utilized within that. They need stimulation. And so if there's a restlessness to them, it will make them nervous, make them worry. They like to be able to put their mind to work. Even though we're talking about the moon, putting their mind to work makes them feel emotionally comfortable. They love to read, to converse, to contemplate things. And I really do think that they love to hang out with their siblings, to hang out with their friends. It's such a sociable sign. They're a little more intellectual than emotional. Again, that's that mercurial thing, sharing themselves in a way with sharing their information, sharing their words, sharing their social experiences. They're easy to take to a party. You know, if you want to take anybody who will melt into a crowd effortlessly, it'll be a Gemini. Sometimes they can appear a little distracted, you know, because they're so focused on what's going on over here and over there. And sometimes when you're with them, you may feel a little like, hello, I'm here, but, you know, try not to take it too personally. It's just part of that mercurial, being part of the group, part of the team, part of the party, I guess is the way I put it. They are open to new ideas. They are adaptable. They're versatile. The challenge with them is that, and this depends on compatibility, because the air signs like to talk things out, but Gemini will really much want to talk about their feelings, which will give a cerebral feeling to their feelings. It may not feel as emotive to the other party. It'll appear almost as if they're analyzing their feelings. So sometimes that leaves them feeling slightly misunderstood. And I think sometimes with themselves, because they think they're emoting, but it doesn't appear that way. It appears as if they're giving you a piece of information. Okay, let's go on to our Cancer. Well, Cancer is ruled by the moon. So this is very, very powerful. Cancer itself rules home and hearth. So of all the signs, the moon feels the most comfortable in Cancer. It's most at home here. It's the Lord of the manor. Cancers are never emotionally detached, even when they have challenging aspects in their charts or challenging transits. They're not going to be emotionally disconnected. It's just the opposite. They need a sense of home, a sense of connectedness, a sense of ties. You know, when I think about Taurus, which I mentioned earlier, which rules family history, well, the family history is created in the fourth house of home by Cancer. So again, we're going to see a little bit of crossovers. Cancer does not like confrontation. It's the crab, you know, it'll tend to want to skirt around things. And in some ways, other people can sometimes feel manipulated. I don't think they mean to be negative, but because they don't want to say something negative, they may sort of skirt around it, trying to get you to bring it out on the table so they don't have to be the bad guy. But you know, we all have our ups and our downs, our shadow side and our light side. They like their habits. Again, the familiar, what they're used to, what is important. They can be very patriotic. very patriotic. The 4th of July, if you're an American or whatever your ethnicity is, you may be very attached to that as a sense of identity. And the one thing about the water signs and Cancer and Pisces being kind of up there with Cancer being second to Pisces is being a water sign, boundaries can sometimes be blurred. And inadvertently, Cancer can identify with another in such a way that if the other person isn't doing well, they identify with that suffering and take it on. So that's a little bit of a challenge. They have a wonderful sense of humor. They tend to be moody. Of course, you know, here we are talking about the moon, the ocean. We're talking about crabs, you know, sometimes a crab is a little crabby. But for the most part, what they really want to do is make everybody feel at home and loved. And they want to treat people with tenderness and understanding because they want tenderness and understanding, and they will always offer you warmth and protection. Overall, these people are your ride or die guys. Okay. They will be with you until the end, and they want you to be with them to the end as well. All right, let's go on to Leo. Leo rules the heart and the heart chakra. And to me, the moon also lives here in the heart because this is where our dreams and our emotions are. So much to the chagrin of most other signs, not all Leos are outgoing and outspoken and kind of, you know, at the forefront of the crowd. Oftentimes, because their heart is vulnerable, they can sit back a little bit and only want to be in the spotlight where they feel comfortable, where they feel safe. You know, here we see the moon, this theme of being safe and feeling comfortable and secure and accepted. They love being surrounded by family and friends. And when they are comfortable, they'll be hams. They'll be the comic, the jester, the court jester, entertaining everybody. They are the ones who are going to bring fun to the table. Leo moms, I love Leo moms because every Leo mom I've ever met is just like, you want to go have an adventure? You want to go to Disneyland? You want to go to Knott's Berry Farm? You want to go to the beach? And they're just up, let's go have fun. Leo rules playtime. They're natural leaders. They tend to be the organizers of the events and be the ones that are the tent poles of the going-ons within their family. Leos love to create and entertain. They tend to play the role of the conductor or the orchestra conductor versus the minion or the player. They like to lead. Leo needs a lot of demonstrative love, a lot of appreciation. And when they get it, they function very well in the world. And it's funny because when I say a lot, I don't mean often, I mean sincere. I mean, you know, down to the depths of their heart. I see you. Sounds a little scorpionic, but because Leo rules the heart, it can feel the emotions of another's compliment very deeply, and it can satisfy them. So they're not insatiable. When their feelings are hurt, Leo will roar like the lion, and they may retreat. They may sulk a little bit. You know, they are of the cat family, so they may go off and be a little slightly independent. They are a fixed sign, which makes them very proud. They rarely follow others unless they believe those others are wise leaders or walking from their heart, because Leo rules the heart. So here we learn a balance in the emotional body with Leo about being open-hearted and vulnerable on some level to what you love. And also the leadership qualities. You know, naturally the sun rules Leo. So when we have a moon in Leo and you're naturally ruled by Leo, meaning your sun is Leo, then there's some sort of cooperation and creation to be made between the yin and the yang, the man and the woman, the heart and the fear, I guess is the way I put it. They are generally very easy and appealing people, and they have a strong sense of justice and fairness. So Leo's quite a fun sign to be around. All right, let's go on our Virgo moons. Virgo rules the house of service, the house of health, the house of pets. And so Virgo moons find a lot of comfort in being of service, in finding security and organizing and accomplishing the details of everyday life. They're mercurial ruled again. So we're talking about information. We're talking about running around town, doing their to-do list, running, making sure that the bills are paid and the groceries have been gotten and everything's taken care of. This gives them a great sense of satisfaction at the end of the day. Oftentimes, because they are so good at this, Virgo moons can be a little bit taken for granted by others. And this is where you kind of rub up against the more challenging side of the Virgo moon, because it will go from being of service to you to being a little bit critical of you because it doesn't feel appreciated. And, that's not uncommon in the human experience. So the best way to make a Virgo moon happy is to show appreciation for their acts of service, their acts of making your everyday life more livable and with more ease. And when you do that, they'll do that for you all day long. They will just revel in that job. They're happy people to just live, I want to say, regular lives. They're not necessarily spotlight ruled, but then again, the dynamics of the chart will change that. Kobe Bryant was a Virgo sun. So, we know Kobe was a great star, a great basketball star. So they're not always just living everyday lives. Virgo moons can worry and feel stressed if they don't get the things they need to do done. Their mind can start to run amok. They can go to sleep at night and have that little bit of a loop. So we really want to make sure that the Virgo has somewhere to put their mind, that dependable, steady job, and make sure they feel validated. If you happen to be an employer, Virgos rules employers as well as employees. So if you happen to be a Virgo moon and you're an employee, appreciating your employer and appreciating your employees will go a long way, not just for them, but for you as well. Because otherwise Virgo can be fussy, a little critical, and a little micromanaging. So we don't want to jump into that too much. Virgo does not appreciate gushy displays of affection. They just want you to show up. They want you to show up when you say you're going to show up. Bring the dish you promised to bring. Don't be 3 hours late. That'll piss a Virgo moon off, let me tell you. And again, here with the air signs, we see a little bit more practicality than really being emotional. They seem to, they're kind of a little bit challenging because when you tell them about your big dreams, they'll be like, well, how are you going to do that? And you may not always know how, especially if you're a water sign, you'll feel your way through it. Don't let them trip you up. And sometimes this will trip them up. If they can't see how they're going to get to their dream, they're going to go back to the drawing board until they can figure it out. And this could be a little bit of the challenge. Virgo moon generally rises with the sun. They love to get the day going, to get that to-do list, and to feel accomplished by their actions throughout the day. So this is if you have a Virgo moon child, and you're not quite sure how to, get them feeling accomplished, then giving them not just tasks as chores, but things they can feel inspired and accomplished by. That would be very beneficial. Okay, let's go on to our Libra moons. Okay, Libra. Libra is the sign of partnership. Lucky's having a moment. He'll be okay. Libra moon does not feel fulfilled without a partner, with someone to share their life with. They will feel utterly incomplete. Many Libra moons will cohabitate, marry, be in long-term partnerships early in life, high school, early college. There's a drive for harmony and peace and commingling within life. There's a drive to be a duo, to be a part of a couple and socialize in that way. They love conversation. They love about conversations like, how to make the world a more peaceful, harmonious place. They rule justice, so a just heart. A Libra moon is constantly seeking balance. And in this respect can sometimes be a little bit of a challenge because they're looking, where are the holes? Where do I need to fill the holes? Where do I need to bring in the balance? And so one of the gifts or one of the opportunities for a Libra moon, I don't know if I just said Leo a second ago, Libra moon, is to see the wisdom in the flaw, to see what the challenge has to offer. Because balance is not the absence of a challenge. Balance is both parties finding, or both dynamics, positive, negative, uplifting, depressing. They both have value. They both have a purpose. And that's what the Leo moon gets to. I said it again, Libra moon gets to really shift and focus on, rather than picking the whole apart, looking at how the whole serves to bring light into the situation. A Libra moon is a natural lawyer. So when they argue, they debate. And they will debate in a way that will always bring both sides of the story. And oftentimes they will have the last word. They can't help themselves. It's just who they are. All right, what else? Overall, Libras are peaceful, idealistic. They enjoy, again, a comfortable home, nice surroundings, peaceful parties, entertaining with friends, and like couple dinners and things like that. Libra is best served when there's understanding and balance in the unpleasant and disruptive experiences of life, and how they make the sweet moments of life more palatable and more heartfelt. Okay. On to our Scorpio moons. Oh, Scorpio. Wow. This is like, if you want truly avatar to be seen, you want to be with a Scorpio moon. A lot of people are a little scared of Scorpio with that stinger, but there are such a rich, savory, emotional sign. They're really the natural psychologist. I have Uranus opposing my Mercury right now, so my words keep messing up. Anyway, they are the kind that want to see your soul in a relationship. They want 100% emotional transparency. There will be no facade, no superficial relationship, and they can smell it. They can smell it, and they will keep digging and digging and digging to the point of making the other person uncomfortable if they are not willing to be completely transparent in their emotional body. There's an unconscious push to bring the unseen into the scene with the Scorpio. They rule sex, so they'll be very intimate in their way of being. Their expression of their affection will be, again, wholehearted. The lights may be out in the room, but the lights will be on in the soul with the Scorpio. Pluto rules them, so they have an inherent need for emotional transformation. They seem to attract emotional upheaval in some way or another. It can be a lot of drama, or it can be the opposite, almost like isolation to the point of feeling so unseen that itself can create drama. And that can make them feeling very overwhelmed and self-guarded. And I think one of the challenges with the Scorpio moon is to realize that these experiences come through so that they will keep digging down to the truth of their own heart. Again, they, in relationships, require deep self-awareness on both sides of the fence and self-acceptance. So if they try to connect with somebody who is not willing to go there, it will not last, because they will try to control and in some ways manipulate, I don't want to make that negative, the other person to come out of their shell. But if they won't, Scorpio will get angry and they'll pull out their stinger. So, because then being the natural psychologist, the natural observer of human nature, Scorpio moon wants to flush out the truth of the character. And then once it's revealed, because they don't trust easily, so this is part of the digging, they will be loyal to you and they will be the most loving, protective partner. And they don't mean to put you through the test. They're just very keenly aware on an emotional level, which sometimes, again, emotions are unconscious. So if they don't smell authenticity unconsciously, they'll keep trying to prove whether they're right or wrong. So once they prove one way or the other, they will take action. And if you turn out to be a reliable partner, they will be so loyal to you and so loving to you. Many Scorpio moons spend a lifetime trying to master and control their emotions as a result of their intuition, because their intuition tells them a deeper truth, and the human experience will tell them to cap their emotions about it. So it's a little bit of a challenge. Scorpio moon can also talk to the dead. They can traverse the other side. So this is kind of a cool thing if you're into that. They generally radiate power and strength and make others feel safe around them. They emote honesty and courage, which sometimes can make a more timid, emotional person want to exit and be like, I can't do this. And that's where we have to just kind of be brave enough to see that the human nature is not one thing. It's a variety of things, and each thing has its place. So if Scorpio doesn't too much attach to that particular person, but rather is willing to look at the character and the alignment, then if that person does exit, it doesn't have to be insulting. Overall, I believe that Scorpio is a sign that really wants to experience in the physical what the emotional can conceive of. It's really a romantic comedy if you think about it, because, in a romantic comedy, the lovers meet, there's obvious kismet, there's always a problem, they look like they're not going to make it, and then somehow the deeper truth comes in and the lovers come together, and they come together in a way where they bring their whole selves to the table. And sometimes the conflict is what brings them that whole self to the surface. So if you're dealing with a Scorpio moon, don't try to shy away from that exposure. Be willing to open your heart and be willing to speak your truth and be willing to listen to theirs, because they're going to give it to you. Okay, Sagittarius. First thing you think of Sagittarius is freedom and space. Meaning space to, like, I think of that old Dixie Chicks song, Wide Open Spaces, to make my own mistakes. They're happy by nature. They're the archetype of the gypsy, the curious traveler, the philosopher, the one. I think of Sagittarius sort of like the United Nations of the zodiac, because they're so interested in the diversity of life. So when you meet someone like this, and you're super intense and it may not always mix, because they're going to want to be like, wow, life's great, I'm so curious about this. So they may see a challenge, but they may not chew on it. They may be like, well, but look at this over here, there's this great side, because they see the big picture. And sometimes that can be annoying to the people who see the detail. They'll be like, well, the big picture looks good, but if you look fine, that's not in alignment. And they'll be like, oh, relax, it's all good. That can be a little bit of a challenge when they tell you to relax. They are cheerful and optimistic, and they kind of bring that optimism everywhere they go. I think of Sagittarius as the kind of person who has one of those maps on their wall, and they decide they want to have an adventure, and rather than looking and analyzing the tourist information, they just throw a dart up against the map and they're like, all right, there we go. They're the type that would like Romancing the Stone, just go out on an adventure. And next thing you know, you're sitting on a bus full of chickens in the middle of Nicaragua, heading to find a stone somewhere. That's Sagittarius. They also love the outdoors. If you try to cage them in any way, it'll be disaster for them. They are free-spirited. They need stimulation in a big way with their minds, not the minutia of everyday life, the paying of bills. No, they want to talk big concepts, big deals. Big philosophical conversations are actually stimulating to their emotional body. Okay, let's go on to Capricorn. Okay, Capricorn moon, earth sign. Capricorn naturally rules the highest point in the chart, the 10th house. It's the most visible and public house. So the Capricorn moon will feel like their actions are very visible to everybody, and their sense of responsibility will be strong. They'll feel a need not to take risks, but to follow the status quo in order to keep everything cool-headed, steady, and reliable. They like realistic goals. Jim Carrey would say realism is a synonym for fear, but not to a Capricorn. Because if they can't manifest it in the 3D world, it doesn't count. So that's very important to them. And like all the earth signs, they like to feel safe and secure in their environment. These particular moons respect authority. Even if they don't like authority, they will still respect the title and tradition. And sometimes this can be a little bit oppressive because they're following something that their heart doesn't necessarily want, but it's what's expected. Stoicism is a word I would use for a Capricorn moon. And I think because of that stoicism, they can appear cold sometimes because they're not overly emotive. In fact, they kind of avoid drama. They don't appreciate drama. They want to keep everything sort of even keel. Let's just do what's expected of us. Let's not rock the boat, and everybody will be happy. And so, we think it's a leadership role on some level. And I kind of laugh because I have an actual great fondness for Capricorns. And I believe Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is that taskmaster, the one who says, I don't really care how you feel about something, get the job done. But I think that this is where the Capricorn moon and Saturn themselves are transforming and evolving, because I don't think Saturn actually picks the lane of our heart or where our moon puts its interest. So all it's asking us to do is, once we land there, to make sure we're willing to work hard to put that emotion and whatever you want in the 3D world. So that's a little bit of a, I don't know, if you're a watery sign, it may feel a little rough, but if you're an earth sign, you might like that because it feels very much up your alley. It's like, I can understand that, I can relate to that, and I can appreciate that. And like all the earth signs, not a lot of drama. They do not want a lot of drama. It tends to trigger their controlling dynamic or their controlling aspects. Capricorn is extremely organized. They're good at managing things. They will always handle their emotions on a more practical level. Again, practicals in the 3D world. They need to feel worthwhile in the real world. They need tangible, visible evidence of their value and respect for their position in order to feel secure. Now we go into our Aquarius moons. Aquarius is such an innovative sign. It represents technology and networks and social media and hopes and dreams. It's a house that matures. It's called an Upachaya house, and it matures in its reward as you get older. It's co-ruled by Saturn. But the moon, the emotional moon of Aquarius, is an interesting one because oftentimes the Aquarius moon can feel a little alien in their own life, a little bit like they're looking inside or from the outside in, because they're so innovative that they're not a pack animal in that respect. They love humanity, but on an individual basis, it gets a little bit choppy. They are observers of nature, and their lifetimes feel like they are here to observe the humanity overall and how can we make it better for everyone. This kind of feels like as we go from Gemini, which is everyday life, Libra, partnerships, and now we're talking about the masses. They are very social creatures and at the same time can feel a little bit alone. Again, there's this weird push-pull between humanity and the big picture and the individual itself. Because of their uniqueness, there's a little bit of them that feels like they dare the norm to reveal their uniqueness. I kind of think of it, it's like somebody who's willing to, wear the clothes the way they like, or, tattoo their bodies in certain ways. And the dare is not to be like them, but it's to not judge them and to be yourself. And I think it's kind of a good dare sometimes. Aquarius is, in modern times, ruled by Uranus. Uranus is the planet who actually is topsy-turvy, where its rings are going this way instead of this way. So it's known to be unexpected. It's known to be lightning and electricity. So an Aquarius moon, out of alignment can be nervous, can make me feel anxious and unsure. But I think if you're not following the uniqueness, that's where that anxiousness comes in. There's a strong sense of independence. Again, with Aquarius, there's people that go out into space. These are the moon travelers, go to the walk on the moon. And they need to be honored for that independence, especially as children, to trust that part of their parents. To try to contain them will really kind of, if a parent tries to contain an Aquarius child that's strongly Uranian and has an Aquarius moon, they'll rebel. They will act out in unexpected ways. It's almost as if the child will be going along with the flow, and then boom, I can't do it anymore. You need to pay attention to the signs. Being acknowledged for their individuality is something that makes them feel loved and cherished. They don't lack compassion, but they may appear not to be very empathetic, again, for the individual, because they're always looking at the big picture of humanity. Your best way you can love them is to give them personal freedom. They easily tolerate the idiosyncrasies and uniqueness of other people. They're the kind that when they're on the land of misfit toys are like, yeah, this is the place to be. Aquarius moons can be very sensitive to criticism. They already feel a little bit outside the box. So if somebody comes at them, they will retreat and isolate themselves away from the group, which is a little bit sad. They want to be accepted for their nonconformity, and they will be glad to return the favor. Live and let live would be Aquarius moon. And our final sign is Pisces, the dreamy and a bit fanciful sign. Pisces is so spiritual. Pisces is, to me, it is the ultimate water sign. Whatever vessel you pour it in, it will take that shape, which is a little bit of a challenge for the Pisces moon because boundaries get blurred. And Pisces being so connected to Pisces, the 12th house rules ancestors. It rules past lives. It rules time alone in meditation, in the bedroom, not sex, but sleep time, dream time. So there is a part of them that can be so emotionally connected to what's happening. The brain is almost not really pulling them back to earth. So they feel a little bit like they're being absorbed by another person's emotional body, suffering or pain or agony. So that can be a little bit of a challenge for them. They have such an ability to tap into the nuances of the psychology of the human. The water signs are going to do that. All of them are. The Pisces moon feels their way through everything. They're not gonna think their way through anything. If it doesn't feel good, they shouldn't do it. And oftentimes, inadvertently, because they feel things so much, they kind of assume that the other party feels the same way. It's almost the way a real air sign can't relate to the wateriness. The water can't really relate to the air either, and there can be misunderstandings. And so if Pisces moon is overwhelmed by another person's thought process or their reasonability or practicality, they may retreat into fantasy and illusion. Pisces is ruled by Neptune in modern times. Neptune rules photography and film and illusion and fantasy, in some ways storytelling, colorful storytelling, imagination. Overall, Pisces is a soft-hearted sign. Sometimes they are labeled naive. They're the type that will listen to that sob story over and over again. My Taurus moon is like, let's move on. They're so sympathizing that it can be mistaken for weakness. And I think this is where they get into a little bit of trouble because, again, there's this feeling of hoping the other side will recognize their empathy and return it. And this is where Pisces gets to realize, I got to take care of me a little bit in order to really have a healthy relationship. So the moon represents our instinctive nature. And these people, Pisceans, are soothed by music and art and fantasy and having a strong sense of faith. That strong sense of faith that things will get better, that there will be a new day and a new dawn. And if things get rough, they may just go to bed and dream about that new dawn. So that's just a brief outlook at your moon. If indeed, I didn't mention this at the beginning of the video, and I should have done this, you need to know your birth time, because the moon moves so fast that a few minutes can make a big difference. And it may not be in the sign, but it may be in the aspects and how your moon is discussing and talking with the other planets in your natal chart. If you'd like to have me look at your chart, dang, there was something else I wanted to say about the nodes, but oh, well, I guess that's for another time. Anyway, if you'd like to have me look at your chart and look at your emotional body and your moon, my information is below. I'm available. In the meantime, I hope you'll subscribe, like, share, hit that notification bell, and I'll be back with Sunday with Traversing Your Transits at 11 a.m. Pacific time, live on YouTube. And I'll be back with something else when I think of a new idea. So thanks everybody for watching.